When you hear the name Michael Vick, what's the first thing you think of? Is it this or this? A superstar athlete sits, adored by millions. Yet a dark secret lurks in the shadows. How can someone with the world at their feet risk it all? Especially to gamble with something so precious that people treasure them every day. Whispers of something evil began to surface. One moment, one choice, would ignite a scandal that shocked the world forever. Can one choice destroy a legacy of one of the best QBs to play the game? How does a hero become a gambling villain overnight? Well, keep watching, because the truth behind this NFL icon's fall from grace will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. It all starts with a roll of the dice that no one saw coming. Even us at the longest yard. It was the biggest gamble of his life, and it wasn't on the football field. Michael Dwayne Vick, born and raised in the tough East End of Virginia, a place nicknamed Bad News. From an early age, Michael Dwayne Vick learned to play football as his one-way ticket out. In high school, Vick's arm and legs quickly made him a local legend. Recruited to Virginia Tech, he redshirted in 1998 and exploded onto the national scene in 1999. As a freshman quarterback, Vick led the Hokies to an undefeated regular season and a spot in the BCS National Championship. His dual-threat blend of blazing speed and passing perfection were unlike anything college football had ever seen. Vick led the nation in passing efficiency with an astounding 180.4 rating, a freshman record and one of the highest marks ever. Racking up awards: an ESPY for Top College Player, Archie Griffin Award for MVP, and Big East Offensive Player of the Year. He even finished third in the 1999 Heisman Trophy vote as a freshman, matching the best ever finish for a freshman at the time, ever. Why would someone gamble with all that talent? Vick had opponents and NFL scouts drooling. He declared for the draft, and in 2001 the Atlanta Falcons made him the #1 overall pick. The first time a black quarterback had ever been taken first. The electrifying youngster was seen as a revolutionary talent. Barely 21, Vick was handed the keys to the Falcons franchise, and he pushed the pedal to the metal. His dual-threat abilities, cannon arm and elite speed, made defenses look silly. In his second season, he led Atlanta to a playoff upset in Green Bay, becoming the first visiting QB to win at Lambeau Field in postseason history. He earned Pro Bowl selections in 2002 and 2004, and had taken the Falcons to an NFC Championship game. That same year, Atlanta rewarded him with a 10-year deal worth up to $130 million. At the time, the richest in NFL history. The NFL's most exciting player was now its highest paid. He was on magazine covers, even had a Nike signature shoe, and was even the star of Madden NFL 2004. It seemed like he couldn't do wrong. But the Madden curse always seems to strike when you least expect it. Coaches noted he sometimes relied on raw talent over preparation. His dazzling scrambles often bailed him out of bad plays and choices, but some wondered about his discipline off the field. In 2006, he etched his name in the record books again as the first NFL quarterback to rush for 1,039 yards in a season, a league record at the time. He was truly one of one, could beat you with a flick of his wrist or a lightning bolt 50-yard run at any moment. Fans packed the Georgia Dome to witness his jaw-dropping moves week after week, coining the most dynamic player in football. Comment below about other NFL players you'd like to hear about.
The record-breaking NFL superstar, a former #1 draft pick, losing a $120 million contract over dogfights?
Michael Vick's life wasn't all touchdowns and cheers. Back in 2001, Vick had quietly teamed up with some close friends to purchase a 15-acre rural property in Surry County, Virginia. Locals would later recall odd activity on the grounds. Numerous pit bulls, makeshift kennels, and late-night visits. At the time, though, no one paid much attention. The Falcons franchise player was living large in Atlanta, far removed from those secluded Virginia woods, or so it seemed. On the field, Vick continued to amaze. He shattered the NFL single-season QB rushing record in 2006, a record that would stand for over a decade. He also led the league in yards per carry, stayed playoff contenders, and Vick notched another Pro Bowl in 2005, and by 2006, he had accounted for 20-plus touchdowns, both in the air and on the ground. His celebrity status was soaring. Appearances on TV and commercials, music videos, and much more. He was arguably the NFL's most thrilling player to watch. there were a few warning signs of Mike's dark side. In one infamous incident in 2006, a frustrated Vick made headlines for giving home fans the middle finger after a tough loss. A moment of poor judgment that earned him a fine and his first of many public apologies. Around the same time, rumors about that property in Virginia skyrocketed. Neighbors reported hearing dogs barking, a lot of dogs, at all hours, and strange traffic coming and going at all times.
I always had a passion for animals and I always had a dog. I kept a dog wherever I can keep him.
Vick, when asked, brushed off questions, insisting family members were taking care of breeding dogs as a hobby. The superstar quarterback's public image remained glossy, but those in his inner circle knew there was a dirty secret screaming to get out. Vick was now 27, entering what should have been his prime. As fans eagerly anticipated Vick's next season, law enforcement agents were zeroing in on Bad News Kennels. The dream came crashing down in 2007. What started as a quiet investigation in Virginia exploded into one of the biggest scandals in sports history.
Michael Vick's legal troubles don't start and end with the federal indictment against him. According to Friday's Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the state of Virginia is going to seek to indict Vick for dogfighting and killing dogs, both state felonies.
In April 2007, authorities raided Vick's property and uncovered gruesome evidence of a dogfighting operation, an enterprise called Bad News Kennels. Dozens of pit bulls, many scarred or starving, were seized, along with fighting pits, blood-stained carpets, and tools of horrific cruelty. It turned out that Vick's side venture was an illegal gambling ring built around dogfighting, a felony operation he had been financing for years. The news hit like a thunderbolt. A federal grand jury indicted Michael Vick and 3 associates on multiple charges. This painted a shocking picture. Since 2001, Vick and his partners had been breeding and training pit bulls to fight to the death, gambling on staging high-stakes fights, wagering hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions, and executing dogs that underperformed. When asked if they knew if other NFL players participated in this high-stakes gambling, their response, literally, bad news, a twist on their hometown's nickname. Fans and the public were devastated. Dogs had been electrocuted, drowned, and hanged for failing to win fights. And the golden boy of the NFL was at the center of it. The leader we thought was not man's best friend after all. Michael Vick initially denied involvement, even lying to Commissioner Roger Goodell that family members were solely responsible, but the evidence was overwhelming. Vick agreed to plead guilty to the federal charges in August 2007. The once invincible superstar walked into Richmond and admitted his role in funding and facilitating the dogfighting ring. Michael Vick was sentenced to 23 months in federal prison for running the dogfighting operation and lying about it. The judge, noting Vick's initial dishonesty with investigators, gave him nearly the maximum sentence. "You need to apologize to the millions of young people who looked up to you," said the judge during sentencing. NFL Commissioner Goodell had already suspended Vick indefinitely, without pay. Now with the guilty plea, Vick's career was pretty much turned upside down. Sponsors dropped. Nike, Reebok, and others tore up endorsement deals, costing Vick an estimated $20 million or more in lost income overnight. Fans who had worn his jersey for years had burned them in protest outside the Georgia Dome. Animal rights groups were furious and very vocal. Holding rallies that blasted Vick as the poster child for animal abuse. For the Atlanta Falcons, the situation was devastating. And for owner Arthur Blank, who had treated Vick like a son, he felt betrayed. This is a difficult day for Michael's family and for a lot of us. We sincerely hope that Michael will use this time to make positive changes in his life, Blank said in a public statement. On Sunday, Vick had seemed like a superhero, and by Monday morning, he was off to prison. Don't gamble yourself, so smash that subscribe button to join the movement. Falcons severed ties with their fallen star. The team had to move on, and quickly, by drafting quarterback Matt Ryan in April 2008 as the new face of the franchise. Vick's name was scrubbed from the Falcons roster, and any hope of him picking up where he had left off in Atlanta was now gone. While Vick sat in a prison cell, he learned that the Falcons had chosen Ryan with the 3rd overall pick, a moment Vick later described as heartbreaking, the final confirmation that his old life was over. Inside Leavenworth, Michael Vick began the slow process of learning the consequences of his actions. He would serve 18 months behind bars. The once electrifying QB was just another inmate, known officially as federal prisoner number 33765183. Vick finally had to face himself, Years later, he admitted that the day I walked into prison, I realized the magnitude of the decisions that I made. When I heard the door slam, it really hit me. Night after night in his cell, I cried so many nights, and that put it all into perspective. I cried for weeks. In 2007 and 2008, Michael Vick was arguably the most hated athlete in America. Yet a complex mix of emotions persisted. Some longtime fans felt sorrow and hoped for his repentance. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell made it clear that Vick would have to demonstrate true remorse and change before the league would even consider reinstatement. Privately, Vick began working on that change. He met with former Indianapolis Colts coach Tony Dungy, who became a mentor during his incarceration. Dungy visited Vick in prison and later said Vick was broken and humbled by his experience. Those closest to Vick noticed a genuine shift in his attitude. The arrogance was gone, replaced by regret and a desire to do better. Vick transitioned to house arrest in May 2009, serving the final couple of months of his sentence confined to his Virginia home. As a condition of his release, he took a job cleaning fish at a local construction company for $10 an hour, a far cry from the millions he once earned. Vick filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, losing nearly $18 million. He was financially ruined and his reputation in pieces. In July 2009, something happened that we all never saw coming. Goodell conditionally reinstated Vick to the NFL, noting that the quarterback had paid a significant price and would have to continue to prove himself. In late July 2009, Michael Vick was released from federal custody. He was free, but his journey back to the field was far from over. Would any NFL team dare sign the league's most radioactive player? I will redeem myself, he promised in a public apology shortly after his release. He expressed remorse to his family, the NFL, and most of all, to the young fans who had looked up to him. What I did was immature. I need to grow up, Vick admitted. One thing was clear. Michael Vick's old life was gone forever, and any path forward would be the hardest journey he'd ever undertaken. A second chance. In August 2009, the Philadelphia Eagles took that chance and signed him to a one-year deal under guidance of starter Donovan McNabb. The signing was met with protesters who picketed outside the Eagles facility, holding signs like, "Hide your beagles, Vick's an Eagle." Many Philadelphia fans were outright angry about welcoming Vick, but the Eagles' leadership, including coach Andy Reid, believed in giving Vick a second shot. After serving a brief additional suspension, Vick suited up in midnight green by mid-2009. Vick had worked himself back into shape and, due to a random injury to starter Kevin Kolb, seized the Eagles' starting QB position by 2010. Vick played the best football of his entire career, a season highlighted by a stunning Monday Night Football performance where he even accounted for 6 touchdowns in a single game. He led Philadelphia to the NFC East title in 2010 and was voted to the Pro Bowl as a starter, earning NFL Comeback Player of the Year in the process. Over 3,000 yards passing, 21 TDs in the air, and 9 rushing. But the bad vibes remained. Many people simply could not forgive or forget what he had done. In 2011, a poll by Forbes found that Vick was the most disliked player in the NFL. Hecklers holding signs with pictures of dogs to remind everyone of Vick's past. Animal rights groups continued to protest. When the Eagles traveled to away games, local shelters would often organize demonstrations. The league and the Eagles kept Vick on a tight leash. No pun intended. He was required to undergo regular counseling and speak to youth about animal cruelty as part of his reinstatement. On the field, Vick's comeback only lasted a few years, but injuries and age began to catch up. At the age of 36, Vick found himself out of football, and in early 2017, he officially announced his retirement from the NFL. In total, he played 13 seasons. 2 were entirely lost due to suspension. He made 4 Pro Bowls and accumulated over 22,000 passing yards and 6,100 rushing yards as a QB. Those career numbers, once seemingly on a Hall of Fame trajectory, ended up merely a has-been. He had gone from prison inmate to NFL team captain, from national disgrace to, at least for some, a symbol of redemption. Supporters argued that Vick deserved a second chance and had paid his dues and then some, serving jail time, going bankrupt, and dedicating himself to making amends. In the years since hanging up his cleats, Michael Vick has sought to construct a new legacy, transitioning into broadcasting, joining Fox Sports in 2017 as an NFL studio analyst. It's a role few imagined he would have a decade later, but being very humble on air, often with references to the lessons he learned from his own ups and downs. Beyond television, Vick has inched back into football through coaching. He returned to his home state of Virginia in 2024 to take on a new challenge. Head coach of the Norfolk State University Spartans. It marked Vick's first major job into coaching and was billed as a homecoming for the Newport News native. It's a striking image. The former NFL prodigy, now in his mid-40s, teaching college kids not only how to read defenses, but how to avoid the kind of mistakes he made. In perhaps the greatest irony of his life, Michael Vick became a spokesman against dogfighting, traveling to urban communities to speak about the horrors of dogfighting and urge young people not to follow his path. Vick reflected on his downfall and the lack of guidance in his younger days. "I wish I had a father figure or somebody in my life to say, 'Yo, man, you could really screw this up,'" he admitted, taking responsibility for not realizing it himself. The process of rebuilding Michael Vick's legacy is ongoing and will likely continue for his entire life. He knows there are some who will never forgive him, and others who view his comeback as genuine. The saga of Michael Vick forces us to face difficult questions about the loss of heroism and second chances. Here was a man who had it all: talent, fame, and fortune, and lost it in the most disgraceful way imaginable. His downfall watched in painful detail by the whole world in real time. Yes, one decision, or, in his case, a series of choices, can destroy anyone. An NFL legend was forever scarred by gambling. Vick will always carry an asterisk alongside his name. You can say that he never left that cell. Today, he's a far cry from that liar in that mugshot. Hall of Fame? Super Bowl championships? We'll never know. His prime was spent in prison instead of on the field. It's a reminder to every young athlete that character truly does matter as much as talent. One choice, one lapse in judgment, can bring it all crashing down. Michael Vick's journey from superstar to inmate and back again is one of the most dramatic in sports history. Should we define a person by their worst mistake? Is redemption truly possible? The answers aren't simple. Comment and like how you feel below. In Vick's case, his legacy will forever be complicated. If you thought this story was wild, check out this video.